welcome back to the What's Next podcast. Coming to you from beautiful Monterey, California. It's a beautiful day for a duck today. It's got a whole bunch of rain coming down. We got Mr. Austin Palacios today again.
Thank
One
you,
of my
sir.
favorite people to have on the show. How you doing, bud?
Good to see you again, my friend. It feels like a quarterly reunion that we get to hang out one more time.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love coming back and hanging out. And man, you are not kidding. It is a day for a duck out there. There was some stuff washing down the streets here in Monterey.
Man,
they use the term atmospheric river, and I thought they were using it a little liberally.
Yeah.
Most of the day when we didn't get any rain, and then 3 inches fall in the last 3.5 hours, and there was a lot of accidents on the way home from work today.
Was it really?
So, yeah. There was
just in the rain.
There was 3 of them that I saw on the way home. Glad to be here, and my goodness, it's always wonderful to see the studio ever changing and evolving. I love it every time, man.
Yeah, we wasted about 20 minutes of content before we started, man. We were having such a good time. I was like, are we going to start this thing or not? I don't know. We already went through all the stories.
Yeah, you know what? Next time that we sit down, we should just light it off, and then we'll do the intro like Batman. We'll do it 30 minutes in,
Perfect.
and then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, it was great having you. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were here.
All right, time to go, pal.
Okay.
Hop out. We got the next.
Oh, look at the time.
Next up. Oh my goodness.
So you're going to say you're going to bring a truck out today, but you figure you're going to get washed away. So
How's
that project coming along? Last time I heard, I think you were just putting a bed on it. Tell me what's going on.
So the 67 Ford F100 is out of paint jail.
What?
We are out of paint jail. It happened in early November, and the long bed is now a short bed. It's got a new roof on it. I mean, every panel has been touched and loved on.
Yeah.
We painted it the Viking blue, which is a Cobra or Shelby Cobra FIA race car color that they used. And the whole roof is painted Wimbledon white, which was the number lettering that they used on FIA Cobras.
Okay.
So it's a real tribute to the Shelby Cobra industry, and I picked it up and I was so stoked, man. This is the second time that I've been able to pick up a car from the paint shop or a truck from the paint shop. The first one I painted myself, so it didn't feel as victorious. So I came in like the conquering hero, and I went, "Thank you, gents. Here's your check, and God bless you, and thank you for all the hard work." I warmed it up. I threw it in first. I lit the tires out the driveway onto Del Monte, and instantly spit the drive shaft out of it because the thing wheel hopped to the moon.
Oh, no.
And the torque just spun the U-joint right off that thing.
But it sure looked good.
Oh, it looked good for about 9 seconds. And then I got to be like, guys, can you push me back?
Little help?
Guys?
Little help?
And then I just see the garage door slowly closing, and I'm like, oh, come on, guys.
Lights
come
going
on.
off. Click, click, click.
But we got that all worked out, and so I've been driving it around for the past couple of months, on and off, just working out the fine details that all need to be worked out after being a year and a couple of months in paint jail. But it's one of those vehicles that I've gotten the most attention in.
Oh yeah.
Just every time I park it, or every time I even get gas, it's like, because there's no badges on the entire thing. So a lot of guys say, is that a Chevy? Is that a Dodge? Is that a Ford? Because,
you smack him in the head. You idiot.
It's a 67. It's a 67 Ford F100. Can't you tell?
I know, right?
It's just a square blue truck with a white top. It doesn't look like anything, but it's got real good body lines, and everybody has a real cool story about, oh, my uncle had a truck that, or my dad had a truck like that, and it made me fall in love with that truck again. Thank goodness, after this long being apart from it. And because when I first drove it, I was like, man, now it's freshly painted, and I'm afraid of scratches and dings, and I'm trying to like get people away from me on the road. And then just the other day, I was driving home from work, and I'm flying through town, and blasting through the tunnel, and I was like, oh yeah, this is why I built this truck. This is exactly why I built it.
Right.
And I actually I work at a new automotive shop. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But during my lunch, I went out and I'm sitting there, took out my little tiny screwdrivers, and I'm tuning up the carb, and I'm doing this and doing that, checking the spark plugs. And I had people from multiple other shops coming out and being like, hey man, we've seen that truck around. Is that your right on?
No
Is that your dad's truck? No, this is mine, man. This is my daily this is my daily driver. And it's just very cool to kind of have that community again.
Yeah.
Rather than, I love a daily driver that you can beat, that nobody really talks to you about, but having the 67 F100, Son of Tornado is the name of it, by the way, because I had a 68 that I was actually helping my old auto shop teacher, and he got into some nonsense, so I went and helped him move a bunch of stuff, and he was showing the neighborhood kids my truck, and he gently closed the hood, and I was driving home from his house, and I hit a bump on the freeway, and that dislodged the hood latch, and the hood just went kaboom! And of course, I slammed my face against the side window, trying to look out the window, rolled it down, and did the whole Ace Ventura, trying to look out and make sure I didn't crash. And so I had one wrecked truck, and then I went and bought another truck and kind of made them two. So the first truck was named Cow Farts. Because I bought it out of North Sacramento, and it was a farm truck, and there was hay actually stuck into the HVAC system. So every time I opened a vent, it just smelled like cow farts. So that's what I named it. And I figured the new one with more horsepower and better looking, it should probably have a better name. So I named it Son of Tornado, and it stuck. So it's been really good having that truck back in my life and actually enjoying it for all the time that I put into it.
That's a 69.
67, yes sir.
Oh, 67.
Yeah.
The same as my Lincoln. Yeah.
Yes sir, yeah.
I think I don't remember. My sister had either a 69 or a 70.
Yeah,
F100.
it was right around there.
It was a 3 in the tree. It was orange.
Had the gas tank right behind the seat.
Yep.
Yeah, and because I
don't know if it had a tank behind the seat. I've had so many Fords. I've had
right.
Those
I thought
tanks,
you had one that rusted.
That was
through.
A different one. Yeah,
That was a
and
different
the bolts went up through the gas tank. Yeah, I did tell you that story.
Well,
As
I mean,
the body dropped.
Michigan boy, you got to deal with a little rust.
Sometimes you got to steal a stop sign and remake a new floor. Just pound it in there and screw it in. You're good to go for another year or two.
Happens to us all the time.
Right. Yeah.
I was told that stop sign was laying on the ground and it was free use, so you just get to make that a floor.
I don't know who knocked it over, but maybe it was my truck. I had a job one time, and I was driving a truck, and I was driving way south of town, and it was in Michigan, and I was coming home, and it was probably 2 o'clock in the morning. Blizzard, you could barely see.
Blizzard. Okay, I thought you were like, I was blitzed behind the wheel.
No, I was going through a blizzard.
Blizzard.
You can't see much past, your hood.
For California people, that's where snow gets so difficult to see through that it actually is hard to drive. Continue on. Sorry, I wanted to make sure.
It's important. It's important.
Yeah.
Whiteout is not a political statement.
Blackout was my college years from 2000. Never mind. We won't get into that.
I had a couple of those years myself. Oh my God! But yeah, I was literally going through the S curves, which is the expressway has to go through inner center of town, so it has to go between all of the buildings.
Oh, that sounds god awful.
In the middle of the night in a snowstorm, and it's all above ground, so it's all ice. So I'm probably going 40, I don't want to go too fast. I don't want to hit the walls or anything. I hit a bump, and sure as shit, that hood went whack.
Oh, no.
going through the S curves, and I know like exactly what you're saying. I'm like, I'm trying to find out where the lines are on the snowy roads, and luckily there's not many people on the road, you know. Otherwise, but it was like, but it didn't open the hood. It ripped all the way around the hinge.
Oh,
so the hinge never opened.
The hood just
opened.
Oh.
So it was just being held on by two little pieces of metal that are on the back of the, you know, it's like, I'm so lucky that it didn't just go right over the back of the, you know.
Well, I mean, if it went over the back, you could have you might have been just fine. Just
dented my roof, broke my windshield. I mean, the whole truck was worth $100.
I had glass embedded in my finger, in my knuckles, and I was driving back to my parents' house when that happened, because it was, you know, where I'm from and where my auto shop teacher was from. And I get back home, and my sister was visiting with my mom. I remember I walked in, I grabbed a beer, and I walked out, and my knuckles are bloody, and I'm red from just stress. And, you know, I pulled over on the freeway and ripped the hood back down, and I had, you know, it's a truck, so of course I had some ratchet straps with me, so I ratchet strapped that mother flower down to the bumper, and I hop in it and speed back to my parents' house, hoping that I didn't break any laws. I don't know. I was just scared. Right. And I get home and I grab a beer, and my mom's like, "Hey, come and have a seat with us." And I was like, I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to drink this beer in the shower, and I'm going to bed, because this was a day. It was a doozy of a day, and, you know, just mentally, physically exhausted. And I woke up and I walked over to my truck, and I was just like, all right, well, we're going to have to fix this, or we're going to have to figure out a way around it. And it was just one of those, like, all right, this is my truck. I'm somehow going to make this work.
Right.
And, you know, it's amazing that my determination has lasted this long, because usually I'm kind of flighty and I go, projects come and go. And this one, I call my lifetime truck. It just got out of paint, and it's perfect, and it's what I want. And I'm gonna be an 85-year-old man doing burnouts in this truck,
right?
And everybody's gonna be like, "My God, he does not need to be driving that truck." And
he's been doing that for 40 years,
right?
So just leave him alone.
And,
he's good.
Oh, that's just old Austin, just getting his yayas out. Don't worry about him.
Might be a lawnmower by that point, but
yeah. Hey man, that engine will only keep getting bigger, and I'm only gonna feed it gasoline. That's right. It, man. I have a strong stance for that truck.
I remember when I was young, I was in young 20s, and I was working as a truck driver in a lumber wholesale company. And one of the guys,
was this your dad's lumber wholesale?
No, it was a wholesaler. He was a retailer.
Oh, he was a retail. Pardon me. Yeah.
I wanted to get out. You know, I wanted to take over the lumber company someday. So I thought I'd, you know, learn how to build houses, learn how the wholesaler works, learn how, you know, just find out how it all works. So I was working in there for a while. And this fella that I worked with, he was a real country boy, but he had this beautiful CJ7.
Okay.
Maybe it was a CJ5. But he had a big old 304 right there.
305, 350. Oh, the AMC
version.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the 304.
That would be a 304.
Yeah,
those
that.
Goofy AMC guys.
And it was pimp, man. I took that thing, and on my drive home, I jump on the expressway. Maybe I've told you this story before, but I light it up. Snap! The drive shaft. Bang, 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 bang. You know, it's hitting the underneath of the car. You know, so I got to climb out in a snowstorm, and it's just like, it's just, okay, well, I'll just take the rest of the drivetrain off, put it in 4-wheel drive, and I drove.
Have the front drive you home?
First front-wheel drive CJ5 ever. And I drove that for 3 months like that.
Heck yeah.
I couldn't afford it, man. I had diapers to buy, you know.
Oh, man.
But boy, did that thing go through the snow.
Heck yeah. Well, I mean, when you got those fronts pulling you forward, you just keep on cruising, man.
I know, right? It was great.
You know? Oh, that's amazing.
That was a lot of fun. Got anything else you're working out? Now, tell me, with the truck, did it ever come with the two-tone? With the top a separate color?
So Ford did a couple different paint styles for those trucks. It was the monotone, just everything gets one color.
Right. The big stripe.
And then so my year is the bump side, so it kind of has the bump sticking out the side, and hence bump side. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But
versus the dent side, right?
That has a dent in it. Weird enough, yeah. And the bull nose has a bull nose on the front. It's so weird how they name these. But the dent side trucks, the Ranger models. So that the Ford Ranger was a Highliner model of the F100 for many years. And then in the 80s, they broke the Ranger down into a different body style completely.
I see.
But the F100, the F250, the F350, and the F600 all came with a Ranger line that was the chrome accents and the chrome body lines going down the side, the two-tone paint.
Yeah.
And from Ford, you can get an AM, FM, and you can get a factory CB radio from Ford. And so I went, I don't want to do the exact Ford Ranger lines.
Yeah.
So I kind of drew my own on the truck, and I think it looks pretty good. I'll send one to you so we can post it up right here or right here, or maybe even right here across
much
my
better,
face.
just
just cover the face. No, they came in a bunch of different colors, and it was when cars and trucks came in colors. They weren't just gray and black and white and a beige or a champagne or a gold. I mean, when I see cars that are green, or when I see cars that are, I saw a bronze Mercedes today that came into the shop, and I went, oh my goodness. And the guy goes, my wife picked,
really growing on me.
And he goes, my wife picked the brown. I don't really love it. And I went, no, sir, this is a metallic acite bronze. Like, this is a special color. There's only a couple hundred people that were dumb enough to order this. But now that we have a little distance between it, it's different than the 100,000 other white, gray, black versions of it. So I'm all about, painting something that has a little bit of attitude or a little bit of emotion behind it. Not just the norm. It's driving a box is fine, but driving a red box, that ain't bad.
That's way cooler.
Way
cooler. Oh man, I had something on my mind. I just picked up a Tahoe, 99 Tahoe.
Did you?
Got a couple of little, I had that little Mercedes convertible, the CLK 320.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So I finally broomed that money pit. I put it out there for $3,500, and somebody's like, "You want a Tahoe?" It's like, "Sure." You wanted to trade?
You loved that convertible so much.
I put so much money into it.
I was never going to be the one to be like, Steve, all right.
Oh, now you're gonna. I see.
Well, no. I was never going to be the guy. I was
thinking.
But it was like, Steve, if you want to put money into this, we can put money into this. But to make it the exact thing that you want it to be, that's a little bit of Skrilla and Manila. That's a little bit of cashola.
Right.
But
yeah.
I mean, you found a guy that gave you a 99 Tahoe over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the money there.
Well, it was a great car. It's just that it was so long ago they made them, and they don't make the parts for them anymore. I went up to Honest Engine over there because he knows,
Oh yeah, Scott's
Mercedes,
the best. Yeah.
And he's like, well, I got a parts car in back. Maybe I can go steal stuff off of that. And I'm like, this is the only way I'm going to find parts is off of donor cars. I mean, basically,
there are.
I gotta get rid of it.
In the, let me be fair. In the Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Jaguar, and I mean, kind of really anything pre-2012. Every company has stopped supporting their own cars. So whether you have a Chevy, whether you have a Ford, whether you have a Dodge, they will go, okay, yeah, we have these parts. We have this swing arm. We have this spring for you. We have this, center console latch for you. Sure.
Right.
And then after so many years, they slow down on selling those parts and they go, all right, we're done. We're done making those.
Right.
And then it's up to the consumer. And there is a weirdly thriving underground of ladies and gents that go out to what do they call them now? Salvage yards. It's not wrecking yards anymore. Like Rickers. Pick and pulls, exactly, things like that. But even websites like Copart, which auction off wrecked and salvage cars and stuff like that, and they will literally pick your E320 or E350, E320. Yeah. They'll pick your E320 that might have gotten rear-ended by somebody or sideswiped by somebody, and they will, like the Buffalo, just pull every piece off of it, and they have a small garage that they have these parts in, and you got to call them and be like,
on the shelf.
Hey, by the way, I'm looking for a ashtray cover, the wood burl, the walnut wood burl ashtray cover for a 2003 E320. Do you have anything like that? And he goes, hold on, let me go look. And he'll walk back and go look, and he'll go, $70.
Yeah.
Yeah, $70 sounds good.
Where else are you gonna get it?
And then you go, yeah, sure. It's the only damn thing that's gonna match. Sure, why not? Yeah. And it's an original part. It's just been on a car that's been in a wreck.
Right.
And it reminds me of my buddies one of my buddies that he got real big into AMC AMXs, and AMC was only a business for
a minute,
11 years maybe, and they were stealing everybody else's parts.
Well, who were they in with? It was
AMC. They used everything from Buick.
No,
engine.
I know, but what was the first with the
Dodge?
No, I mean with the AMC. Wasn't it the Scrambler, or who made that?
Oh yeah.
You're
on it.
With the.
It was the Scrambler, and that was in The Man with the Golden Gun. That was a James Bond thing. That was a crossover.
What did they call it? Like the Willys something.
So I'm terrible at the Willys AMC crossover stuff, but it did happen for sure.
Right.
And
Rambler, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Willys Rambler or something like that?
So it was a Willys Rambler, but I believe it didn't market well after like a year or two, and that's when they switched it to the AMC Rambler, and that's when it I believe, and everybody can fact check me on this.
I know, right?
But I believe the red AMC Rambler that in A Man with the Golden Gun, that he goes, hold on, boy, and he goes, woo, and he does the full barrel roll and lands it.
Sure.
That is an AMC Rambler.
No kidding.
If memory serves.
Right.
God, I hope it does.
Wouldn't that be cool? Those are such cool cars, They really are. They're starting to grow on me on my old age.
Well, and that's the thing
Jeepsters.
is like none of that stuff is around, right?
Right.
But with the advent of CNC printing and CAD scanning, pardon me, and everything like that, you can take a good AMC Rambler dash, CAD scan that thing, and now you can reprint one forever.
Yes.
And so
you got the right material, right?
Exactly. And so there's a lot of cats that I know that are taking really weird cars that would never have an aftermarket or would never have a platform to save these cars.
Yeah.
Now they have this device that can go, oh yeah, we can we can actually turn that ashtray into a cup holder. And now you have a cup holder instead of an ashtray because you don't smoke, but you drink soda, which is probably about the same thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are so many great things that technology has brought the aftermarket automotive industry that I marvel at it every day because it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. You know, I got hooked on this show called Vice Grip Garage. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh, buddy, get the sparkler whirler going, and you know.
I love that guy.
Derek is the best.
Just the old what do you call the lightning hoses?
Oh yeah, lightning hoses. The
names for every little thing.
You got a carburetor, but you don't call it a carburetor. You call it a fuel make it happener, baby. And guess what? It makes fuel happen. And bless his heart, that guy does some of the most hardcore stuff. And the whole time he does it with a smile on his face. And I think that's a new click on the whole thing as well. Is not being bitter about it or not.
That's the ticket.
Yeah, not throwing tools or any nonsense like that.
I do that.
Oh yeah.
I can't help it sometimes. If I'm buried in, bang my knuckle, took skin off 3 times, and pretty soon, what did I do with that wrench? Oh yeah, threw it into Wyoming. I did that with hammers when I was framing. I bust myself a couple times and just launched that hammer. Now I got to go look for it. Dang it.
And I got to the point to where I valued my tools so much that I wouldn't throw my tools. And my buddy, I think it might have been Glenn, but I can't remember. But I was so mad that I had my phone playing a YouTube University video because how else are you going to figure out how to do what this needs to be done? And this guy on my brand new iPhone was not giving me the right information. And so instead of the half-inch wrench that I felt would actually do damage to something, I just winged my phone and I watch it just skip like a rock across a pond, and it lands next to, maybe it was Alex, Glenn, who cares? I'm sorry, buddies. I can't remember, but it landed next to him and it was still playing. And so he's just under a car going,
Stomp on it.
What is this noise going on? And he picks it up and gets out from under the car and he goes, "Hey buddy, is this you?" And I went, I'm real sorry. Did that hit you? And he goes, "No, it didn't hit me. Did you drop it?" And I went, Sure.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I dropped it.
I dropped it from over there.
And I walked over expecting just a shattered phone on all ends. And my damn case covered that
No
thing.
kidding.
Serious?
And
wow.
I threw it 40 feet across a concrete floor that was epoxy covered, and it ended up next to him. He picked it up and handed it to me, and it was still playing the YouTube
Shout
video.
out to the phone case company.
Yeah, I'll send you that link as well because my God, I
bulletproof.
I have kept that phone case on every phone I've had since because it's like, oh, it's me proof. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, having something that is that's fall proof and all that. That's totally different than me proof.
Oh man alive.
I'll pay the money for the me proof.
Ooh, there's not a lot of things in this world that are me proof these days. It's a lot we're gonna break it and just buy another one.
I would take my aggressions out by maybe just going out in the garage and punching a piece of drywall, or just, if I'm just, I got to get away from the kids, got to get away from everybody, but I'm riding this freaking rage. I got to go punch something. And one day I punched a hollow core door, and it went right through to the bed frame behind it and opened my knuckle up. And I was just like, remember sitting there in the hospital in the emergency room waiting to get sewed up. I'm like, you know what, guy, you really need to start taking it easy, man. You got to stop with that.
Yeah.
That rage thing is really going to cause a problem, man. And that was one of the last time I've ever done that. But in my youth, it was like, you just get so freaking angry,
man, It was a problem.
Yeah,
it was a problem.
Right.
And I mean, especially a young kid that, I didn't have all the tools.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I didn't have all the tools, but I just saw how other people in my life reacted. And it's like, well, that must be the tool, right?
Maybe that was
and just like you, you know, give me a flashback here.
I know.
I was dating a girl, and she was at a different college than I was, and me and my buddies go out, and I thought, hey, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a call and tell her how much I'm thinking about her.
Right.
Give her a call, and somehow the phone gets answered, and I hear her friends like, so where are all the guys at? Let's go and find all the guys. And then I hear her respond, yeah, let's go find some guys and hang out and this, that, and the other. And just the boil over of a 21-year-old jealous rageaholic.
Right.
And my buddies are looking at me like, all right, be cool, man, be cool. And I'm in my favorite bar. I'm not going to make a scene in my favorite bar. No,
Maybe.
Don't worry. I'm going to go home. I'm just going to go to bed. Don't you worry. So everybody kind of follows me back. and I go, and now I'm like Chevy Chase from Christmas Vacation. I'm like, no, it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm Jelly the Munch Club. It's fine. And I went, I'm going to go use the restroom. I'll be right back. Don't worry about me. I'm going to go use the restroom. Walk towards the restroom, and I Mike Tyson my door. I just the bathroom door was the aim, and I put multiple fists through it, but this door had a center brace that I did not think about.
Some do.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So now I have two knuckles that are split. Two middle knuckles, both that are split right up the middle because I'm center massing this thing.
For sure.
And I'm hitting this door with all the rage in the world. Be calm. Don't be that person. Take a deep breath.
Right.
But it's never worth it. It wasn't worth it. I tore my hands up and had to be at work, 12 hours later after this incident. So I'm sitting down on my bed, and my buddies are like, it's going to be okay. Like, I promise. She's not worth it. And I'm like, no, she is worth it. You don't understand.
That's the problem.
You don't understand. I'm the weak one here. And, I tape up my hands, and I get some weakly flimsy answer of why all this happened. Oh no, we were saying we were going to meet them for beer pong and blah blah blah.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever it was. And I obviously have long since forgotten about this whole event, but I remember going to work the next day, and I was a bartender at a Mexican restaurant, and my first duty that day was cutting the limes for all the margaritas that day. So I double glove up, and I'm like, all right, everything's going to be fine. Don't you worry. But while you're cutting limes, you don't worry, or you don't think about the fact that it's spraying up your arms and then feeding down in through the gloves. So not while I'm cutting limes, but while I'm talking to people like, hey, can I get you more salsa, pal? All right, a little bit more sour cream for your quesadilla, don't you?
Hey, baby.
And just the fire running through my hands.
God.
And, now I'm running and taking off my gloves and trying to wash my hands off, and, next to the dishwasher who doesn't give a fuck about me.
No, not even a little bit.
And it's just like, all right, well, that rage was in no way worth it. And no way did it prove anything to anybody. And I stress this on every... I hate to say it, but younger person that I know. But I mean, I'm 37 now, so I think I get to, my liver just turned 67, which is wild.
Nice, good.
So
must have been born before me. So
yeah,
sure.
No, it had some work over the pandemic that was not accounted for.
Maybe 72 by now. I'm not sure.
All of a sudden, a birthday cake rolls out. Happy birthday! But
liver shaped.
But it's the rage is never worth it. No. Whether it's the rage between family, between spouses, between friends, between someone on the road with you, the rage is never as satisfying as you think it's gonna be. You just drive, walk, or slink away feeling like a complete asshole.
Right.
And
you may be.
Oh, totally.
At that point.
And there are so many times that I wish I could, beam myself back in and just be the cool Brad Pitt guy that goes, well, I guess that's how you feel, and turn around and walk away. But, 13 years later, 15 years later, it's still like, oh, yeah, I was a real tool bag about that one. And... man, I hope those people were drunk enough to where they forgot how I acted. Because my God,
man,
woo, boy.
I remember after going to jail a couple times for drunk driving a long time ago in the early '80s, I was kind of forced to go to AA, and this lady says, and I was asking her, well, how do you know if you're an alcoholic or not? And she's like, well, have you ever been in trouble that alcohol was not involved? It's like, dang it. No.
Your truth, your truth doesn't affect. Oh wait, it does.
And your point. Yeah. What's your point? Just come out and say it. What do you say?
Right in the face with that one. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that's wrapped around the rage. Nah, we'll get to that
don't
later.
You worry about that.
We'll just stuff that down a little further back.
Well, and then there's the voice in your head that goes, hey, by the way, you make it to work. You cover your shift,
functioning.
You make your things happen, and it's like, well, yeah, I was a bartender for 6 years, and nobody's really keeping strict checks on how sober you are when you roll into the building, and then it's just like, oh, better try this margarita. Oh no, but
no.
It's okay, and
it's in the best interest of the restaurant.
It is in the best interest
of the bar
to quality check your drinks before you serve them.
On and above is my middle name,
and
buddy.
Oh man alive, but then my uncle Dave Herrera. He was a dual player at UC Davis. He was a baseball and a football player on scholarship. Back in the 70s, he got hooked up with the San Francisco Giants, was a bullpen catcher for the Giants, got traded to the A's, was a bullpen catcher for the A's, became a scout for the Kansas City Royals, among many, many other things. And he had a handful. I mean, I'm talking 5-6 DUIs when you could essentially walk away from them. Like, it was like, oh, all right, I'll pay for the tow and I'll pay for the $500, bail. And dump out my beer. Sorry, man. My mom will come pick me up. It's cool. And then later on, they obviously got much more serious to where they were like, hey, you don't get a license. Like, you don't get to play the game anymore because of how serious this is. And when I was 15, I was so raring to get my license, so raring to get my permit, so raring to get behind the wheel. And he sat me down and he was like, hey, man, you have to promise me, and you have to promise me right this second that you will never get behind the wheel with more than one drink in you. Because after one, you don't know what you're doing.
You can't make your decisions.
And I went, well, no, I mean, after one, and no.
Right.
After one, you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So,
like, well, I do. Right?
Well, and I went, Uncle Dave, I love you so much. I respect you so much. So, all right.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
I've held that through my life.
No kidding.
Right. No kidding. I mean, in college, I spent more money on cabs than anybody I know because there was no Uber at the time.
Right.
Currently, I hold the record for Ubers. And hey, man, you're with me. I'll Uber you home if it's out of my just so we all get home.
Get home
I
safe.
don't care. Let's
party.
It'll go on the thing.
Yep.
Tomorrow morning, that'll be a different time for us to figure out how to get waffles and get our cars back. But for now, we're gonna go home and we're not gonna worry about it. And the poor Uber driver is gonna hear us talk about, what Heather Locklear poster we had on the wall in high school.
Right.
And it's like, I never worried about that. So it was like, oh, I don't drink when I drive, so I have zero problems with this, right?
Right.
I wake up on time for work. I don't drink when I drive. I might say a little few uncharacteristic things every once in a while where I'm trying to be funny. And it's like, I've taken that so seriously for so long that now it's actually become a part of me to where I'm imparting it onto other people. Hey, man, after one, you don't know. After one, you don't know. And the best way to do it is don't fuck around and figure out.
Right.
Just get the Uber, sleep her off.
It's not the 70s, man.
No, oh, man. You guys had it wild.
I went back.
Oh.
I mean, I got my first drunk driving in probably 82. And it probably cost me $7,000 to get out of that,
In 82, it cost you $7,000?
By the time I did all the courses and did all the, it's just everything.
Somebody's going to do an inflation calculator right here.
I know. Can you imagine?
That's going to be like, well, that money in 2025 is probably 15, 18,
right.
20 grand.
I know. It's like scared straight.
Oh, man. Yeah. If you're out there, don't drink and drive. Don't smoke and drive. Don't snort and drive. Don't take pills and drive. You know what? If you feel altered, don't drive. Fuck.
Go fast. Get there quick. Snort some coke.
That's spoken like a guy that's driven a 1972 Cadillac Eldorado at 110 miles an hour going, "Ooh, yeah, buddy."
I can't believe it doesn't have any more speeding.
Just 190 horsepower, 500 cubic inch, trying as best as it can.
Just floating on momentum at that point.
Oh, my goodness.
We were talking about carts and car parts, and we went off a little bit. I was going to ask you, have you ever seen this show on YouTube called a kid named Matt Armstrong?
Yeah, Matt Armstrong. Yeah, of
freaking
course.
Awesome, dude. He buys these trashed supercars
and fixes them out of nowhere.
I don't want to say he doesn't know what he's doing because he clearly has some idea, but he does a lot of putting things together and going, oh, I did that in the wrong order.
Yep.
Got to take it all apart and start all over again.
Well, and it's one of those wonderful things that I want every car person to watch, or every aspiring car person to watch, because it's one of those, like, you see the polished version of some of those car shows, to where it's like, oh, well, we got this part special ordered from this company, and boop, and it drops right on, and then all of a sudden you put the distributor in, you hook up the plug wires, and all of a sudden turn the key, and wow, 700 horsepower, God bless it, we did it. And it's like, that took 4 months.
Yeah, right.
That was not not a 7-minute interlude where they, grabbed it from the FedEx guy, cut it out of the box, and set it on and started it up. That's not how it goes. It's a struggle every day. Whether it's I work with new cars, and obviously I own really old cars, and it's every day is a little bit of a struggle when it comes to cars. The enjoyment is getting that moment.
Right.
And we're kind of fast tracking that moment by going, oh, all right, FedEx guy, drop the part, turn the key, wow, 700 horsepower. And I want everybody to know that the joy is the journey in getting to that startup. It's not I mean, even with new cars, even with, you know, all the computers and all the technology that goes along with it, a lot goes wrong. So when you're able to have that moment where you start it and no warning lights pop up at you, and it's not yelling at you to run to the workshop or anything like that, you have your win, you have your moment, whether it's topping off your oil, you know, maintain your air pressure in your tires. It helps everyone in the world. Fuel economy, tire life, suspension life, it helps everything by keeping your tires well inflated. I want everyone to have that feeling of accomplishment, and I feel like some of the shows might be fast tracking it a little bit. And it doesn't make me mad. It just it makes me want to give everybody just a little perspective.
Yeah, but it also shows somebody that's not been schooled in this, jumping into it, screwing up, taking it back apart, fixing it. It's like, oh my God, I can relate with this guy. You know, it's like nothing is working, I can't understand it. And they put the rear hatch on and everything kicks on and running. It's like, why would that have to do anything with anything? Because it's related through this, and it's got to know, and it's
that SAM system has to know that back hatch is talking to the front blinker, because somehow those two are wired together. But if you're not laying in bed going, all right, so if I changed out the bulb and I changed out the fuse, and then. Well, no, there's no relay in between.
I don't know.
It's just that main computer, and then I checked the ohm reading between the main computer and that fuse. So there should be no drop off. And then you wake up one day and you go, is there any corrosion on those leads on the socket?
Just the littlest things.
And just a little bit of ohm resistance that could be making this thing act funky. You go and you clean up those connection, you stick it in, and bada bing, the light works, and you know the rear windshield wiper starts flapping, and you go,
I have no idea.
Huzzah!
I did.
Huzzah! I have fixed something. Look at me.
I'm all done here. I knew exactly what it was.
And that's when you walk in after 16 hours in the garage and you go, honey, I've done it.
Yeah.
And that son of a bitch down at the corner didn't get me for $480. I just spent 3 days on it. So don't you worry. I saved us a lot of time and money. I've done it again, honey.
You know what? Another funny thing about that show is he'll pull like a part out of Aston Martin. And he's like, "This is a $900 part. It's got the whole, this and that," and he'll pull up the numbers on it and be like, "Oh, this is worked on, or this is used on a Volkswagen."
Oh yeah.
Also, and it's also on this car over here. And it's like, well, we can just order this part that plugs into the board from Volkswagen. It costs us $60 instead of the $700 they want for the whole board with everything on it.
Oh yes, sir.
And it was like, well, why don't we do that? I was like, I would never even think to check that.
Oh, there's a whole YouTube video clip that will be sent to you, obviously. That is, it's a clip of all the parts that are crossover parts.
Oh, really?
It's like, a McLaren F1 from the early 90s. Oh my God, all those parts must be bespoke. There's no way that any of these parts, traverse to another car.
Right.
And it's like, well, no, that taillight is out of a Peugeot 906, and it's $94 if you go and buy it online. But if you get it from McLaren,
it's $1,200.
It would be $3,600. And I mean, they get wild with this stuff. And it's always like, there's always going to be that little bit of crossover in supercars and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. I had to order a part for the E320.
Yep.
And the mechanic took it apart, and he's like, it was a full board, and then he ordered the part that he needed, and it was a plug.
Yeah.
He's like, but the board is all soldered in. He's like, well, I'll just pop this off, and I'll just put that in, and I'll resolder those lines together. It's like, what? You can do that? Like, yeah.
Is that the part that you showed me the other day? You had tape.
No, that was a spark plug wire. I couldn't figure why number 5 wasn't firing right, and I look in there and saw electrical tape.
Well,
that
sometimes
might be it.
Sometimes that insulates well, and sometimes it doesn't insulate so well.
Shooting lightning over to the fender sometimes, but other than that, I mean, it's fine.
Oh, the old lightning hoses.
She's sparking and jumping over to the cab.
Oh gosh, man!
It's like, okay. So yeah, God, what else? I had to replace the some kind of oxygen sensor that goes just to the exhaust just behind the cat.
Yeah.
So I had to replace that. That was throwing a code.
Downstream O2 sensor.
Yeah,
there you go.
The upstream was on the other side of the cat.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Well,
See,
I mean,
this guy knows.
You don't want to swim upstream. You got to swim downstream. So yeah.
I'm swimming upstream all my life. Now you tell me.
Preaching from a mountaintop. Oh my God.
Have mercy, Miss Percy.
I think we have a name for a new podcast here. Swimming upstream with Austin Palacios. Oh God. Just trying too hard and swimming too hard.
Pushing his boulder up a hill.
Oh, Sisyphus. So enough about cars, man.
No,
I want to hear about you. How's the fam bam doing? Everybody doing all right?
Oh, good. I just ran back to Michigan for the Thanksgiving, did the Christmas, and took all the grandkids out to the tree farm that I always took the kids out to.
Yeah. Went out there into the woods and such like that.
Right. So we
good.
Did that whole thing. Santa Claus running around and handing out candy canes and
love it.
Oh, it was a great time.
Good.
Just got all the way back up to like 25 degrees while I was there.
Excuse me?
It's a real scorcher. So
no, I'm sorry. I don't contemplate these numbers the way that you do.
Are we Fahrenheit?
Is that Celsius? What are we? So 25 degrees. You're walking through the snow.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you got like the double insulated boots and all that nonsense.
That's a different kind of cold. I'm okay at 25.
So just
15.
Newspaper bags, and then you put them in the boots.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, once you get below like 30, all of the moisture falls to the ground. So you're not dealing with that ocean freezing cold that feels like you're blowing through your. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything is just dry. Your lips crack. There's absolutely no moisture in the air, but it's not like a wet cold.
Oh, this sounds like a winter wonderland that you're
right. You want to go.
It's crispy. It's a little crispy.
You need to be the Michigan spokesperson,
I'm telling
man.
you, right?
The cars rust out. You crash on the S curves going through town.
I mean, that was 25 is a scorcher. When
25 is a scorcher.
When we left, it was 10, maybe 5 to 10 below zero, and they got about 15 inches of snow. All the schools were closed. Everything
good
shut
for those
down.
Kids. Good for those kids. They
got
deserve
their snowmobiles out, just like we always did.
Oh,
See
man.
ya. Just hopping through.
Little death motorcycles on the snow.
Oh, man.
Perfect.
Dude, I think I told you I was about 8 or 9 years old when I first got my Skidoo 399. That thing hauled ass, and the skis were only about 1.5 feet apart, so if you turn too fast, you just go.
Oh, man.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I'm still alive.
All right. I'm going to bet you $20 right now, and I don't know the answer to this question. You had a 3-wheeler, didn't you?
No, I didn't. But my cousin had one of those, and I remember.
All right. I'll pay you after the show. It's going to be in a check that you can't cash until 2 weeks from now. But
no, I would have liked to have one, but they were expensive. I couldn't afford that fancy stuff.
I have a buddy that is obsessed with 80s death machines.
Those are death machines.
He's got the Triumph 700 with the 4 cylinders sitting longitudinally, and he texted me the other day and he goes, I bought myself a 3-wheeler, and I went, oh, that's dumb. And he goes, I put a bigger engine in it. I went, oh, that's even dumber.
So you're an organ donor.
And
Great.
and so I went, hey, by the way, are you an organ And he goes, oh, yeah, I'm all set up. Everything's fine. Everything will be fine. And, I mean, there's just Instagram videos of just him, and just dragging the back fenders, and those things look terrifying.
Well, if you catch air on that thing, there's no way to recover.
Oh no, because your death wobble right to the moon.
And if somebody comes out in front of you and you lock up your brakes, you're either going to go this way or you're going to go that way. You know, you're only on a triangle, so
you're going Sammy Davis Jr. one way or the other.
Yeah, you're going to roll that thing over you and break your neck. Yeah, those are
whoever
dangerous.
Gets the Sammy Davis Jr. reference, by the way, that one's for you. Oh my God, I don't know why I talk like that. I shouldn't.
Sammy Davis died before you were born, didn't he?
Yeah, sure did.
How do you even know?
So he had a glass eye, right?
Yes.
Okay, you know how he got the glass eye, right?
Well, I'd have to dig through the memory banks on that one. Tell me.
All right.
I might know that one.
Well, so he was driving a 1961 Cadillac Eldorado at the time.
This is a joke.
No, sir.
This is really what happened.
No, this is really what happened.
Tell me.
You would know, but he was driving.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know.
What
I know
color
he was
was
driving.
it?
I actually believe it was a beige white, if memory serves.
There you
We're
go.
gonna take that as.
And it was after a show, I believe, at the Palms in Palm Springs, and he was going back to his joint in Palm Springs where the whole Rat Pack lived at the time, and cruising down the highway, and the Cadillac Eldorado at the time had a beautiful steering wheel with the horn trim around the edge of the wheel, and it came to a beautiful little cone that was in the middle where you would press if you really wanted to hit the horn, and little tipsy, little not paying attention to the road, goes off the road into a ditch, and kabah!
No kidding.
And got the cone of the Cadillac right in the eye, and that's what made him lose his eye. But a redeeming story for Mr. Davis. His last performance with it wasn't with the Rat Pack. It was with, I believe, only it was with Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, just
and Frank Sinatra, he sings a full set. Frank Sinatra sings a full set, and he walks to the wing where Sammy Davis Jr. is prepping, but he has throat cancer so bad that he can't even speak. He can't sing. He can't speak. And Frank goes, hey, sonny boy, if you don't feel like going on tonight, you don't have to. It's no big deal. No skin off your back, no skin off mine.
Right.
And he went, I may not be able to sing, but I can still dance.
He's a tap dancing fool.
And they started playing the music, and he went out and hit every single step, every single note. Frank sang along with him, and that was the last time he was on stage. And I think it was 3 or 4 weeks after that he passed away.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that would have been a show to be at.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Right.
Well, and it's so weird. Sorry for bringing that whole thing down, but it's so weird. My parents, talk about going to see Frank Sinatra and Louis Prima at the Fairmont in San Francisco, and my mom's like, oh yeah, we lived just outside of Berkeley in the Oakland Hills, and my parents would get a room at the Fairmont, and me and my brother would, they'd put us to bed and have the Fairmont staff babysit them, which was kind of weird. But my grandfather being an upper up in the Buick world at the time,
right.
they would go down and hobnob and have cocktails. And then when it was time for the show, 1 a.m. or midnight or whatever it was, they'd come up, wake the kids up, dress them up, put the dress and the suit on, and they'd walk down and get seated in the first, 1 or 2 tables and see Frank Sinatra and Louis Prima and his wife Keely Smith, which my sister is named after Keely Smith.
No way.
Keely is named after Keely Smith because my folks saw them so many times, and it's like, oh, I saw a ska band from the 90s like recently. I don't think I'm going to be able to tell my niece and nephew, like, by the way, the Real Big Fish and Me First and the Gimme Gimmes, man, their albums 25 years after they were done.
Something.
Chef's kiss, perfect. But you listen to Frank Sinatra in the 70s or late 70s, that's amazing,
Well, you never know what'll be popular 20 years from now.
That's
like you saw Asia or what? I don't know.
Wait. You saw Electric Light Orchestra?
I know, right? That was before my time. But
goodness.
Did you see that one? Yeah.
You saw ELO?
I believe so.
All right.
A little fuzzy.
Oh. I know I've seen Rush 5 times.
Wow.
I have not. I never saw Rush.
That
was a bucket list that obviously passed by.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have my swim coach turned triathlon coach at the time, Joe Laundere. Shout out Joe and Mo. That they took me in kind of as a wayward child, and they were like, we're gonna teach you how to endurance race, and we're gonna teach you about music. And that's where I learned about Rush and Y&T and Accept Balls to the Wall. Who can forget that album? And I went and saw Rush, Neil Peart, pardon me, playing O Batterista or the Rhythm Method live, and getting to see that. So I guess at the time I knew they were something special, but when we're growing up, that band that you're obsessed with, it's like they might wash out.
Yeah.
They might totally be an absolute nobody at the end of this.
I was doing a random pick the other day, and I picked out an old Ozzy album.
Ooh.
It's like, oh my God,
I have 3 in my head.
Man.
I have 3 in my head that I think it could be.
It was one where he's laying there and he's holding the cross.
Blizzard of Oz?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, what a
beautiful
great
album,
man.
Beautiful album.
That's just my high school, man.
And
he'll be dead by the time my grandkids even know who he is. So maybe that'll be, oh my God, you saw Ozzy? Yeah, over and over again.
No.
Duh.
Ozzy's never going to die.
And in same kind of
Black
range,
Sabbath.
people are talking Sabbath. It's
Black
like,
Sabbath.
you saw Sabbath?
Yeah, right.
Like, well,
Tony Iommi and all those boys.
Yeah,
Right.
I never saw Sabbath. I never saw Ozzy. Would have been really, really cool.
Sure.
But I was thrown off by all of the symbology that they were really embracing and pushing and, utilizing to just kind of get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's like that turned me off. So I didn't follow it out.
Yeah, it's a little the Judas Priest.
It was a little dark.
Yeah, and
It's a little dark.
and I've read multiple biographies on Ozzy and all that stuff, and it's like, after reading all of it, I think that Alice Cooper, Keith Richards, and Ozzy Osbourne are not of this world.
They should not be alive.
And no, they're never going to die. That's the thing, is we have immortals among us that have been spouting this for a long time, and we're just not listening, guys.
I'm concerned what kind of world we're going to leave for Keith Richards.
Yeah. You just got to worry about the hash you're going to leave for Keith.
Just got to be careful, man.
It's all about the weed that we're going to leave for Keith behind. That's it.
I saw a meme once with a picture of God, and somebody's asking him, like, who's that? He's like, oh, I don't know. He was here when I got here. Picture of Keith Richards. That's funny.
Oh, my goodness. Well, and it's still amazing to me because I work with I work with many generations of people. I mean, guys that are in their 70s and guys that are in their late 20s.
Yeah.
And it's an automotive shop, so there's multiple little segments and there's little doorways and this, that, and the other. But the music really kind of can unite everybody,
sure.
and really speaks to everybody. And I mean, I was walking through the other day, and I heard the beginning riffs of Money for Nothing. And, Mark Kaufner just riffing away, and Dire Straits ripping through. And it's these two late 20s guys just bobbing along, just doing their thing. And one of my coworkers, who's in his, I will be generous and say mid-60s,
yeah,
he pops his head out the door and goes, "Oh man, I haven't thought about this song in years. I was at the Cow Palace in 1986. That was in the weird days." And then all of a sudden, you see these memories flooding back.
So I was like,
and yeah, and he goes, "Wow, this really is a great song." And then he just smiles and walks away, and it's like, oh, the memories that you must have associated with this song.
I'm telling you,
it's
right. It took him right back there.
Oh, it sure did.
Right.
And it's always amazing to see, and that's why I love music, and it's what it's about.
Yeah. Sitting there watching TV the other day, and Melinda was sitting on the couch, and I don't know, maybe Tesla came on. I'm like, hey. She's like, "Oh my God, you are such an 80s kid." I'm like, I know. I was like, that was just part of my...
I wear that as a badge. Thank you very much.
Yes, I know. Right?
I survived, and thank you for it, by the way.
I know, right?
I was enjoying watching YouTube when I was doing was having a problem sleeping, so I was just staying up, and how you just kind of thumb away or click away,
yeah,
and, just go in and
doom scrolling,
and came across the Live Aid.
Oh man!
Oh, you're gonna get my wife so mad right now. I watch Live Aid too much.
I know where I was when it came on. I was at a buddy's house, not far from my house, and we watched the full concert at his place, except for a half-hour period that I had to run back to my house to do something, and then rode my bike back over to his place, and then.
And you got to see.
You
got to see it live.
I watched the whole thing live on MTV.
Man!
And so literally, 3 days ago, I was watching Money for Nothing with Sting.
Yes, sir.
Up on the stage.
Yes, sir.
And listening to it with completely different ears now, and hearing it so differently, and hearing the mix so differently, and watching the communication between the bandmates that I completely was oblivious to at the time when it was happening, because I'm just watching Mark Knopfler and I'm watching Sting, and it's like cool.
But at the time you're listening to it on a mono Zenith 13-inch in your buddy's basement.
You're not hearing the mix.
But that's a different experience,
right?
Like being there with your bro, and you're sitting there watching it, elbow to elbow, going, "Holy shit! Imagine this!"
Having no idea what level of an impact
that
we
would
were
have
just watching
globally.
Right.
Globally.
Right. Everybody the world knew about Live Aid.
So amazing.
And it was just...
It was everybody.
Boom, there it was.
It was everybody.
It just tripped me out when you brought up Mark Knopfler. It's like...
Yeah.
I was just watching him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm... Can you tell by the mustache that I'm obsessed with Freddie Mercury? No, but
we won't tell anybody that.
But I mean, seeing his audience warm up, reading all the books about Queen and Freddie Mercury and everything like that, and knowing that they boosted the volume for Queen above anybody else to make it sound like Wembley was jumping. And for him to go out and do the vocal warm-up, like all of that, and watching everybody react. I mean, I'm sure my wife is sick of it. I'm sure my neighbors are sick of it because, there's a certain time where you just got to turn on the big screen and hit the YouTube, turn it up to 11, and just
go
accept it and know that was 385,000 people all screaming in one voice with one person or one band.
And in one motion as you're watching a sea. It's a total sea of people. And when he would raise his arm and everybody would raise their arm and you just go, oh my gosh, how can one person have that kind of influence over that many people in that very moment? And yet he was relaxed. And yet he was in his element, in his moment. He was having a blast.
And he's blowing kisses at the cameras while he's swinging in and taking a sip of Heineken while he sits down and tunes up the piano as he, all right, bum, 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 can anybody find me? And it's one of those things that's, I always talk to people about the music, about what moves them, because when I hear like, oh yeah, I listen to whatever. No, come on, give me, really tell me, because I'm unashamed. I listen to a little bit of everything. There's some things that I don't really listen to, but ska, punk. You want to talk classical? Bugs Bunny taught me all I need to know about classical music and the Barber of Seville.
That's right.
I post that stuff on my YouTube on my Instagram all the time. Like Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd taught me about classical music, and I'm so glad because I get this whole rounded experience. But also Rhapsody in Blue was in, Looney Tunes cartoons and
what was that movie? Was that? Remember where they were in the car?
In the car. Oh boy.
Oh, you're still talking about a Queen song.
Oh, you're talking about Wayne's World.
Yeah,
you're talking about Wayne's World.
That's what it was.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to skip backwards.
No. I
hear
actually
that
have
playing in my mind.
Oh no, don't.
That's where it was.
Don't you worry. I have a fun fact about Wayne's World,
and that happened in many a car. By the way,
oh, I know it did. That's why everybody could feel it.
Not just a blue AMC Gremlin with flames coming. No. Sorry, AMC Pacer. It was an AMC Pacer because it had the bubble window on the back. It wasn't a Gremlin.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
I just saw that car not too long ago. I don't know if it was a replica, but it was that car, and it's sure as shit, you're right.
Yeah, the Pacer. The Pacer. But if you rewatch the movie, here's a fun fact for you. Let's see. Mr. Myers didn't think that it was a good enough song to have for that scene. He wanted something like Poison or Anthrax. He wanted like a real headbanger, and the studio and the writers were like, no, this has a really even build, and then you get to have a little interlude and then more headbanging.
Yeah, right.
And so you can see him, God, what's his name? Mike Myers. Mike Myers, thank you. Oh my gosh. So you can see Mike Myers towards the end. He's in the passenger seat and he's headbanging like this because they'd been doing it for 4 hours long.
Oh no.
And so he didn't have any headbanging left in him. So he's doing this weird full body motion. And then when they cut to Garth goes, and he doesn't know the words to the song because it wasn't a popular song. So, Bohemian Rhapsody was far out. I mean, it was a 1979 song. The movie was in 1990, so it's an 11-year-old song. They didn't know it. So he's just mouthing along the words. And then when that movie was released, it shot Queen Bohemian Rhapsody right back to number 1.
Did it?
It did.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, it belonged there.
Oh, it still belongs there.
You couldn't have put a better one in there. It's still there. How about that?
In my heart, it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't tell me any different.
Amen to that. Oh.
I mean, I like their music. I was never a real Queen guy. I don't know. There was always, a few songs where like, oh, geez, that's awesome song.
Oh, yeah.
But I wouldn't buy a ticket for them or anything like that. But,
But in
now
hindsight,
looking
being
back,
2020, it'd be like, oh, man, if I could have seen Queen, it's...
Right.
I was 1 year off of seeing Queen at Day on the Green.
Oh, no.
I went the following year.
Oh, and Day on the Green. For anybody that doesn't know, Day on the Green, Oakland Coliseum.
Rite of passage.
Rite of passage as a Bay Area cat or kitten. And, man, the bands that my brothers and sisters and myself have seen at Day on the Green, holy smokes. And Metallica always went out because they're a huge Bay Area band and they would always light it up. And I believe it was my brother and a bunch of his friends. They went out to see Metallica and they went out to see Guns N' Roses. GNR were the headliner. They were above Metallica. Metallica does their full set. They go out. Thank you. Good night. They walk off. Guns N' Roses comes on and they start Sweet Child of Mine. Everybody loses their mind. And there's one guy up front that's just giving Axl Rose the finger. Just fuck you, Axl. Fucking
that'd be me.
Showed up.
That guy.
Well,
because
GNR took like 35 minutes to get on stage,
right.
and so everybody's drunk and rowdy.
Right.
And I guess Axl, wow, sweet, and he makes eye contact with the guy and goes, "This guy just fucked up the concert for everybody." And he spikes the microphone, and the rest of the band members just finish the song because they know Axl's gone. So they do the guitar solo and do the drum solo, and then they bow gracefully and walk off. And Metallica and Guns N' Roses, minus Axl Rose, walk on stage, and then they do the rest of the set with James Hetfield and a couple other people doing backup, and
that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing.
And that's Day on the Green shit, though.
Right.
That is how that stuff went. I mean, they in the early 70s. I mean, they had every name that was at the Monterey Pop Festival at Day on the Green, just because they were just across the bay getting high anyways. Right. So they got brought out to sing me and Bobby McGee, at the Oakland Coliseum.
Remember they were saying that, I don't know, he was angry at something. He was a little bit drunk. He was on an airplane and he was...
we're talking about Axl Rose.
Axl Rose.
Oh, yeah.
And, and somebody was in the bathroom and he was angry, so he just pissed all over the door. And I was like, I'm out, man. I don't like that guy.
No,
that's so disrespectful. Somebody's got to clean that up. Who do you think you are?
Nah.
I don't dig that. It's a personal thing.
Well, I mean, I believe...
I hate his voice, too, but sorry.
Oh, sweet child of mine. No, I think that it's well documented that Axl is not a great person. Just in general.
Axl also was chemically imbalanced.
Was he?
And chemically imbalanced and not taking his... I mean, he would choose not to take his meds before some of the gigs just to amp up the performance from his perspective.
Right.
He was already unpredictable as it was.
Right.
Then you add the fact that he's not taking his meds.
Yeah.
That would keep him far more level-headed. And then... that's where you got some of the really, I liked Guns N' Roses. And you see some of the amazing stuff that they would do as a band on stage.
Yeah.
And at the same time, not somebody I'd want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Not somebody that I'd have the desire to go back and meet in a dressing room.
Yeah, right.
None of that.
Ooh, I believe if I said, hey, by the way, we're going to go grab cheeseburgers, and there's going to be a cat there that we're going to meet. His name's Axl Rose. I believe we'd go out for burgers with him.
I'd go for that. I'd go for that. I wouldn't want to go backstage.
Oh no,
I don't want to be
so
in
weird.
that zone. That's no man's zone.
Right.
If we're going out on neutral ground,
right,
we're gonna go grab something to eat, or we just happen to go to the same
I
restaurant.
agree. I agree with that.
That would have been cool. But at the same time, I'm looking at Slash.
The most normal rock star of all time.
Amazing guitarist, and yet at the same time hardly was ever sober from like 1981 until 1995 or whatever. I don't know.
Right in that wheelhouse.
He was
Right.
completely gone.
Out of his gourd.
I remember I lived in LA for a period of time, and I remember our band was coming up after they had already reached and got out
the name
there.
of the band, please.
Forthright.
Right on. Forthright. Yeah.
But
I know what shirt I'm wearing next time I'm on the podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm wearing a Forthright shirt.
Yeah, buddy. We were a Christian metal band.
All right, I think it might burn off of me
I was
if I
gonna
wear
say.
it.
Be a little hole in my
Yeah,
shirt
yeah,
here.
I'm gonna have
see the
To
scars.
say.
But there was remember the big rags that they used to have.
Yeah.
Back in especially in LA.
Yes.
The big old stuff, and everybody did their advertising in there. And if you're looking for a singer or a guitar player or whatever,
Oh, really?
You posted it
Kidding.
in this
Wow.
magazine. And so on the cover of this magazine were these 5 guys that looked like street bums, absolutely slosh smashed. It's not a picture that you could pose.
They are out of their minds.
It was a picture somebody took of the 5 of them leaning up against a building,
Because that's all they can
legs
do.
kind of crossed and over, bottle of Jack Daniels, another one's holding a bottle of Jack that's 3/4 gone up by his chest. Just was drinking. And I looked at that and went, I don't think they've got any self-respect. I don't see what the draw is.
Yeah.
And at that time it's like I wasn't even interested.
Right.
And then once you got into the early 90s, you're going, okay, so there's actually some talent in there, and there's a little bit more talent in there than I thought there was. And
But
Which band again? Which band? are you talking
Guns.
about? Guns N' Roses. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is with the talent came the drama.
Fact.
If
I didn't expect any of them to live.
oh man,
To be honest with I expected almost any day to see a headline that said so and so overdosed, or so and so's.
I didn't think I'd live long enough to see Chinese Democracy.
No.
I didn't think I'd live long enough to see that.
No.
That was an odd duck.
I
but
could have lived without Chinese democracy.
I think we all could have.
Anytime I think of Guns N' Roses, I think of that knucklehead just stepping off the bus with his hat on backwards with a weed hanging out of his mouth. I just want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
The stringy ass curly hair hanging out
Welcome
the back
to
of
the
his
jungle
head,
video.
Oh, that's right.
I hate that. I hate that.
All right. I only have one fun fact about Guns N' Roses.
Bring it on.
All right. So, Slash is warming up. He's warming up. He is not talking to Axl. He's not talking to the bassist. He's not talking to the drummer. Slash is on his own because he's pissed at everybody. But he just wants to play guitar like Slash does. So he's sitting there and he's trying to warm up his left hand after, doing whatever he did the night before.
Which he doesn't remember.
Right, exactly. And so he's trying to warm up his hand, do 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 do. He has this warm up where he's trying to warm up every single muscle in his hand,
Right.
and Axl Rose hears this warm up and runs out into the recording studio and goes, "Hey, what is that?" And he goes, "I'm warming up." And he goes, "All right, don't even worry about it. Just keep that going, and we're gonna make something out of that."
Right.
And they run in and they record that 8-bar clip of him doing the opening of "Sweet Child of Mine."
No kidding.
Totally believe it.
And then completely wrote the song around what was being played, but had no journey of what the song was or anything, and that was their breakout that became the 35-year long-lasting hit that it was.
Similar, different time frame, but similar, was Joe Walsh doing his warm-up, guitar progression warm-up, became Life in the Fast Lane.
No way, that was a warm-up?
That was his warm-up.
Oh,
and
that's
he just
so
happened
cool.
to do it. He happened to be doing it when Glenn Frey and Henley come in, and it's the same kind of thing. It's like,
Keep playing
what
that.
is that?
That.
Like, just warming up. It's like, keep warming up. Keep warming up. Hit record. Hit record.
Right.
Well, the amount of pure cocaine that the Eagles got their hands on, that...
Is that a problem? Hey, I mean, I'm not going to question good music, bro.
No question
dare you.
whatsoever. I just want to know if there's
some
a
more
time
coke in.
machine that can take me back to the pureness of the music. The music, that's what I'm asking about.
Right. I remember sitting down and kind of the same type of story. It was flipped on MTV, and it was like Nirvana Unplugged.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, without the electric, they're going to maybe play on acoustic guitars. Well, that'll be interesting. So I sat down and watched the whole thing. Oh, my God. I had no idea at the time he was about to kill himself. I mean, I've got the album. I've got, all the Unplugged. And it was like,
but
I just stumbled across it. I loved his music. I loved to be out of the Prince and all that crap era. And there was actually a beat coming back, and it was hardcore. It was a little more hardcore than I needed, but it was nice to see that swing back,
Well, because
I loved them.
It was the hairband and the pleather and the teased
Right,
hair
right.
and the
And then it went to Sade.
Right.
And it went to, it was like,
and then it took this right turn, really hard right turn into you're wearing Seattle.
Yes.
And you're wearing your tattered jeans and your flannel shirt. And you don't give a fuck about the man, and you don't care about the record deal. You're just there for the love of the game, and which creates a double-edged sword for your fans, because then once you get famous, then you're a fucking sellout, and then you're this and you're that, and that's the thing about labels with the music industry is it never stops. We label this person a country star, we label this person a rock and roll star, and the labels kind of do a disservice.
Absolutely.
I'm a musician. Wouldn't that be a better way to not attack but approach the situation? Be like, I'm a musician. I flow through a lot of different bandwidth, and
I love I play a bunch of different genres. I enjoy all styles of music. Yada 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 yada.
Yeah, but when it's like, it's, you meet a guy on Monday that's like, hey man, it's real good to talk to you, and my pappy really loved old George Strait music, and I've been dipping and driving a Ford truck for 35 years, and hot damn, I just love playing that. And then fast forward 15 minutes and it's like, so I'm part of this pop band and we love playing pop music, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's disingenuous to the fans and the people that listen to your music, And I think that's what a lot of people are kind of not fed up with, but they're tired of the disingenuousness. If you like playing this kind of music on Mondays and this kind of music on Wednesdays, rock and roll. Do what you want to. That is just fine. I mean, I just when people get labeled, then it feels like they get put on this pedestal and they can't traverse back to another pedestal when it should all just be one line of music. Walk wherever you want and play and do whatever you want,
Right.
Yep. I think that one of the things that really did a benefit, I liked MTV when it first came out.
Yeah.
I liked what it did and bringing the spotlight to the bands and, all of that. But
there's a big but there, right?
Well, I really appreciated when they did.
I think Sir Mix-a-Lot sang about that. The big but.
Yeah, there we go. That was an image I wanted.
You other brothers don't know why.
When they did the MTV Unplugged.
Oh,
that
what
allowed
a beautiful
so
series.
many different bands to come in and reimagine themselves and represent themselves and cross over to other genres.
That was neat.
That would not have otherwise listened to them.
Yes,
cool.
sir.
It was through that I got into Alice in Chains for the period of time that I was into Alice in Chains. It was because I saw them on there and I went, holy crap, there's way more talent here than I was giving them credit for from what I was hearing on the radio.
Wow. I think that you
Eric
just
Clapton.
hit on something super profound.
Huge, right?
I mean, it was. I think there should be a pre-unplugged and a post-unplugged line of delineation in music because I mean, I grew up obviously listening to Aerosmith and Steven Tyler and all of them. Mm-hmm. But then you listen to Steven Tyler and Joe Perry unplugged. Just a piano, a guitar, a harmonica. But you get to see them two knuckleheads that really fought for so long about creative license and who was in charge of who. And you see them break it down into non-electric and just enjoying playing the music together I don't know who was in the audience, but the roundabout, it only looked like a couple of hundred people, right? I mean, it didn't.
Right. It was a studio audience.
It was a studio audience. It didn't look like hundreds of thousands of people in an arena. It was two guys, a piano, a harmonica, and a guitar, and they broke it down. Or Clapton breaking down. I believe he played a 12-string in that set, if memory serves, but I'm not sure.
May very well have.
But I mean, just seeing the beauty in those
reimagining Layla.
Oh,
which is now just as popular. I think that version is just as popular
as the original.
Was
100%.
Well, what I was going to say was, just following up on the MTV thing, because I was probably maybe a freshman in high school, sophomore when MTV came out. Is that about right?
Yeah, probably.
Were you at 80... some year, probably junior, senior, somewhere? You got a couple years on me.
MTV, right? Yeah, MTV was, I want to say 80 or 81.
See, and I remember watching a documentary about like 81 or 82-ish, so right in that wheelhouse, but the popularity spiked at a different time for everybody.
Well, the problem with the way that I looked at it, and not that I didn't like MTV, I got it, I understood it, but at the same time, I had always listened to music, and I've had my own thought of what it means.
Yeah.
And it's like you are going through a particular time in your life and you listen to the song and you hear what you want to hear. You picture what you want to picture. But if you're staring at a screen, going, feet can't fail me now, and they're showing, you remember that song with the caterpillar, and it's like you're not making any anything in your brain. You know, you're watching what they decided to do with your brain roll. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
it was like, I don't like
you're
it.
You're speaking directly to my heart.
Okay, cool.
Man.
You get what I'm saying.
I hear you, because there's those songs that if you're excuse me, if you're sitting alone in a room and you have a certain feeling, you're feeling love, you're feeling lust, you're feeling anger, you're feeling disappointment, that song will getting goosebumps even thinking about it.
It's imprinted on
because it will sink into your brain, and you make your own music video.
Right.
But if you're following the MTV platform,
right? If that was the first time you heard that song,
then
that's all you're ever going to think about.
Then you're listening to the safety dance with men without hats, and you have a midget running through a forest with guys with construction hats on, and
get what I'm saying?
No idea what's going on.
No.
But I mean, I remember. My older brothers or my older sisters or even family friends introducing me into, Janie's Got a Gun and things like that. And I would go, oh my God, I love this song so much.
Alicia Silverstone.
Oh, what's up, Buttercup? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And Crying, the Crying video, we're not going to pass that up. But you listen to a song that you love. I remember, gosh, I think it might have been Radar Love by Golden Earring.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheels. Yeah. And I remember going, hell yeah, man, I love this song. I love driving to this song. I love thinking about this song. This is great. And you watch that video from 1978, and it is a different vibe altogether. It does not make you feel like Golden Earring Radar Love. It makes you feel like you need a shower and to call your mama. It is real weird, real bad, real quick. And it's like, oh, like in my head, I went, oh, maybe because I'm well outside the MTV age. I never watched MTV for MTV. I watched it for the garbage shows. For the garbage shows that came afterwards.
So we didn't have those.
And so it's like
just music videos all day, wasn't it?
Yeah. It came out in August 1st of 1981.
Okay,
81, so that makes complete sense, because I have brothers and sisters that are right in that wheelhouse that love it. But I remember being like, wait, no, I love Aerosmith, Crying. That's a great song. Watch the music video, and it's real sad, buddy. It'll bum you straight out. And it's like, oh, no. I thought about this as a different song. Like, I'm crying when I miss you. I'm crying just to kiss you. It's a song about longing. You watch the music video, it's a different kind of longing altogether. And it grabs a different emotion from you, which I think might be healthier that, there was a certain generation that didn't have the music videos, because, well, now you have everything at a click of a button if you want it. But I mean, let's fast forward to today. You listen to Taylor Swift, Eric Church, the Killers, Mr. Brightside. You listen to those three songs by yourself in a room thinking about what you're going to think about. They are going to mean a whole lot of different things than if you sit in front of a computer screen or a big screen TV on YouTube playing their version of what they're trying to tell you through a 3.5 minute interlude of storytelling that I'm sure even they don't think grabs all portions of what the song means.
They're just putting out what it is that they wrote, or whatever it is that they completely owned. they, I think I was sharing on the podcast earlier that Heart did a song called Alone.
Oh.
Which absolutely destroyed me. I mean, it just went right to my core.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And I found out that they didn't write that song.
No?
No.
Oh.
I just had to have somebody else be crushed besides me. No, somebody else wrote that who sits behind a desk and writes lyrics. But.
All right.
But give those lyrics to Ann Wilson.
Oh.
And give the basic melodic line and progression to Nancy and let them do their thing with Nancy on piano.
Yeah,
in particular. And you've got a whole, and now there go my,
okay. Get your hackles up. Yeah.
It was absolutely mind-blowing. And it was because they owned it. So even though somebody else wrote it, that person couldn't express it. That person couldn't put clothing on it. Couldn't put skin on it. Couldn't make it.
They couldn't dress the beast.
And I mean, granted, I don't know that I would want anybody else doing it besides Ann and Nancy Wilson, who were really easy on the eyes, especially at that particular time.
Well, and that actually brings me perfectly. I obviously we all agree that the who sings it, how they sing it, they have something to do with it. Mm-hmm. The person that writes it obviously puts that pen to paper and makes. I mean, if you just read it as a poem, it might make you cry. I saw a clip of the recent Grammys. I don't know.
I haven't.
Okay. So, thousands of new artists and thousands of new songs and squillions of dollars back and forth. And one of the major hits of the Grammys this year was Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga singing California Dreaming as a duet.
Yeah.
And they do this weird back and forth, cover each other, and of course there's a beautiful backing band that goes along with them, or orchestra even. I believe it's an orchestra that backs them. And I'm sitting there watching it, and I went, yeah, I dig this song. Of course I dig this song.
Right.
They're doing a Thursday night karaoke good job of this. Wait, they write their own music, right? Why are we?
And the answer is no.
Why are 55 years later we're doing a version of the Mamas and the Papas by these two, by all
artists,
right? But by all measuring opportunities, these are superstars in the squillions of dollars of records sold, but they're doing a cover of a song that's 55 years old.
That's already established.
That's very much so.
I don't think there's anybody even alive from the Mamas and the Papas. Are there? Maybe the one. What was her name?
I think the ham sandwich is still around.
Oh, no. I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, what I wanted to say was, since MTV came out in '81, we grew up with albums.
Yes.
So you look at the back of the Van Halen, and Eddie Van or David Lee Roth in a full kick.
Oh,
spinning knives around, but
that's
liner notes.
Got to see. Liner notes.
That's all we ever got to see.
Some liner notes.
Sometimes you could get the liner out, and it would tell you more pictures of behind.
I lived for liner notes.
I lived for that, man. And then
photos taken by Mark McGrath. Some guy that you have no idea about.
Just see, just David Lee Roth just come skipping out and flip his hair, and you're just like, oh my God.
Hamala bibbly zibbly babbly, hamala bibbly zibbly bow.
One of the things that he said, and it has stuck with me ever since I heard it in high school, because I was I was introduced to Van Halen when it was Van Halen.
Right.
Right. And
Not Van Hagar for you listeners.
Right.
But no shade on Van Hagar, because I dig that. Just deal with it.
Took me a long time, but I'm coming around.
But what David said was, all of this stuff, all these outfits, all of these tassels,
the
and
affects,
all of that stuff, he said, is absolutely nothing. If you can't sit on that stage with an SM58 microphone in front of you on a stool with a light bulb above your head and do that song and reach somebody, if you can't do that, you got nothing.
Hell yes.
Right.
And that was the point where I went, well, there's a whole lot more to him than I was also giving credit for. I'm learning all kinds of things today.
Oh, and David Lee Roth
gosh.
in later years had also kind of lost his marbles
maybe a little bit.
Just
occasionally. It was
right.
just, here and there.
On and off, right.
But
find them, lose them, find them, lose them.
I have a Sammy Hagar story that I cannot forget about, and I cannot stop telling. Do you mind?
Montrose. I love Montrose.
Oh, Montrose.
Oh man.
So, back to listening to the whole album. I grew up with people that would kind of just go, listen to this.
Yeah.
And it wasn't go to track number 7 or go,
Right.
no, B-side, go to number 4. It was listen to this.
Yeah.
So you get an album like Rush 2112 Part 1, 2, like you have to go down the rabbit hole.
Right.
Like you get
you make time for that.
oh yeah.
Right? That's not just, hey, I'm going to put it on while I'm working on blah blah blah.
No, that is I'm going to sit silently, like with my headphones on and just kind of enjoy. And if there was a music video, it'd be really fucking weird. And it would impress something different onto you.
Right.
But I had a cat that Eric Sandman, Eric the Sandman, this goes out to you, buddy. He could do a spot on Sammy Hagar impression.
Wow.
And he drank Coors Light like it was water, and just every once in a while just be like, all right, baby, let's go. And just start ripping and riffing. And I took a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. I'd been there multiple times, but this was the first time I was of age, like of age.
Sure.
And so I'm down there all Friday night. I'm out. I'm on my own. It's a mess. It's
Couldn't have been good.
It's
Who
a
left
mess.
me alone?
Oh,
Who thought I was responsible?
like
No supervision.
I was told that I showed up with a bag. Not a carton, not a tray, a bag full of nachos and half a bottle of tequila. And I showed back up to the hotel that way and was like, hey, all right, let's get her going, baby. And, I was gently put to bed. All right. That's that. Yeah. Bonk. That's your night, sweetheart. And I woke up and I showered and, all right. I'm gonna go to Cabo Wabo. I heard they have the best burger in town, which I hadn't eaten American food in a couple of days since I've been there, so that sounds like a really good thing to me right
Maybe
now.
not Mexican.
Just a big
right now.
greasy burger and some onion rings and some fries and maybe a beer. Maybe a beer at the time, and so I get a taxi cab down there, and it's me and my pal, and we walk up, and we're the only two people at the bar for lunch, and I'm like, oh, this isn't a good sign at all. If this is the best burger in town, shit. So we order burgers. They take forever. They are not the best burger in town, but we are hungover enough to where it tastes like the best burger in town.
Right.
And, I look over at my buddy and I go, all right, I think when these beers are gone, and then the next beer's gone. It's definitely time to get the fuck out of here. We'll call it at 2, and we'll just limp our way back home and call it. And as we get served our second beer, and we're both trying to finish up our burgers, all we hear is, "All right, baby, oh." And I go, "That sounds familiar."
Thought it was your buddy.
and he's to the right. I hear this noise off to my left, and I go, "That sounds familiar." And I look over, and all I see is blonde bouncing curls of hair bouncing. And he walks behind the bar, and his back's to us, but he's wearing a cut-off shirt, and it's midriffing. And this is in the early 2000s. This is in the early 2000s, midriffing 50s Sammy Hagar. And so I look over, and I'm like, "Nuh-uh, that's not, no, that can't be." And so I go to the bartender, I'm like, "Hey, come here.
Hey, buddy.
That's not the Red Rocker." She goes, "Oh, Sam." And I went, "You call him Mr. Hagar.
How dare
you work for him. That is Mr. Hagar.
Show some respect.
You show some goddamn respect." And so Sammy runs back, and he's pouring shots for people at his table. And the bartender finally walks over and goes, "Hey, these 2 young knuckleheads know who you are." And he walks out and he goes, "Hey, boys, how's it going?" All right. Hey, we got a show going on tonight. You want to come by and say hi? All right. Here, they're going to give you some tickets, and we'll see you later. Hope you love the burgers. I love them, too." And we're both like, "Yeah, burgers."
Is that right?
But we both went to the show that night. He gave us VIP tickets to Cabo Wabo. So it's a 150 person venue. We're in the 25 people section off to the left side of the wings.
Damn.
And I just get to see the Red Rocker do his job for an hour and 15, hour and 30 straight. And he did some Montrose songs.
Did he?
He did Van Hagar songs.
Right.
He
did.
He even did a couple of Van Halen songs that David Lee Roth originally
probably wouldn't
sang.
have.
And I was just like, it's Mexico. They let you do anything down here. Fucking right on, man. So the set ends. He doesn't go to the left wings. He goes to the right wings, right where we are. And there's, me, my buddy, and 23 other people just sitting there like, holy shit, here he is. Can you believe this, guys? And he walks up and he's chatting all the Chiquita Bananas and all the gents. And then he turns and he looks and goes, "Hey, the burger guys, right on. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Welcome to Mexico, right on. There's only 2 rules. You can drink anything you want to back here. Second rule. And actually, it should be the first rule. But second rule, you can take home any chick you want from back here, only after I leave." And I was like, holy shit, this sounds like a deal. Hey, I look a little fancy tonight. I have my finest Hawaiian shirt on. And we see the edge of the limo pull out, right behind the stage, and on each side of his arm, he had 8 chicks on each arm, all blonde, all looked like they were Playgirl or Playboy, bunnies. And he walked out, they piled in the limo, and it is me and 5 other dudes just hanging out in this VIP section. And I went,
okay,
so much for that.
So I'll take home any chick you want, and the burgers suck, but God, that was a great show.
I know,
and then we went back to the hotel bar and tried to tell every 18 to 21-year-old chick the awesome Sammy Hagar show that we just saw. They were not interested.
Like, who?
Not interested in the slightest.
Red what?
Wait. He's the one that owns Cabo Wabo, right?
Right.
Did he give you any free tequila? Like it was the coolest thing for an 18-year-old dude, but like the biggest buzzkill to any 18-year-old chick in Cabo San Lucas. It was just like, oh, so you saw a 60-year-old dude on stage with no shirt on? Okay, that sounds like fun.
Yeah,
but
right.
I got to see the Red Rocker hang out, share a couple words, and man, cool guy. I will never say a bad word about Sammy because he was very cool to me.
And to me, even the coolest part of it is you've got that memory.
Yes,
and you have it.
Oh, I can't forget it.
So you keep telling that story because that keeps that fresh and it keeps it going in your head. Sharing that with different people when you get the opportunity. I've forgotten way more stories and experiences and concerts and things like that because I don't remember it and we didn't talk about it other than like the night after or whatever the drive home. And,
man. I try to keep those memories alive because there's so many times where I'll meet somebody or I'll have an interaction or even chatting with you guys. The last couple of times we've had hours of good conversation at this point, and I'll tell somebody like, yeah, I was chatting with my buddies on this podcast and we were talking about it was really important. We were man, we were all laughing and it was damn it. Hold on. It'll come back to me. But those vivid ones that I still have, I try to repeat them as much as possible, just to keep the names and the memory alive. Yeah. Because if we don't, it's gonna be one of those like, oh yeah, there was a time where I saw a guy with curly hair in Mexico, and he sang a song or two. You try to. I mean, I'm sure both of you guys have stories interlocked somewhere that if we gave you some magic mushrooms, all of a sudden they'd come spilling out.
I've only met like a couple of I remember bouncing in a bar one time and the boss was like, just kind of keep an eye on that table.
Oh, you're a little guy to be bouncing.
Yeah, I know. I was,
We just call him tiny.
Right.
Only 6'9" and 280.
I was like, okay, they're all a bunch of long-haired dudes, just kind of make sure nobody bothers them, I was like, who was that? Like, REO Speedwagon? I was like, oh, okay. Well, I know them. I have a lot of their albums, but you wouldn't know
They don't know
them.
me, but I know them.
No, because there was just albums, You didn't know. You didn't see them on MTV or whatever,
Oh, man.
I was walking through an airport one time, and there was a bunch of, what do you call them, rhinestone cowboys standing around. And I'm like, I don't know who they are, but they got to be a band, More like they're shooting at shit, and
like
people
cowboy.
start kind of gathering around. So I walk over there, like, I had a piece of paper, and they all signed it,
Oh,
and
that's
the last
fantastic.
guy wrote 38 special on the bottom. I was like,
I hate
you. That's who that is. It was like, what an idiot, bro. But I don't know. They were coming in to do like a birthday party for the Amway people, or something. And it was like, why were they in the Grand Rapids airport? Well, they had just a little gig, or whatever.
A previous boss of mine was flying from, I guess he flew out of the Bay Area down to Orange County, and then he was going to be flying from there to someplace else. So he did the little stop over there. And while he
John Wayne International.
John Wayne. And
Pilgrim.
He's got a period of hours that he's waiting. So he heads over to a hotel across the freeway. Yeah. And goes into the bar, grabs himself a drink, and he hears somebody playing piano. He's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Right on. I'm going to go over there. So he went over there, and there was just one guy sitting at the piano, and he was just playing away, just in his own space, in his own world. Nobody else really in the room, just him sitting down, and he's in the process of listening to Greg Allman.
Oh.
Who's on a layover.
Oh.
And he just wanted to play piano someplace. And so somebody said, go to this bar
They have
over
a
here.
piano.
They've got a piano. He goes over, sits down at the piano. Who's going to tell him no? I'm not. And all of a sudden, my boss is going, I have a one-person concert.
Freaking A, dude.
Sitting here listening to him play his favorites and sing and write as he's coming across things and he's writing it down. It's like, oh my gosh. And again, Orange County Airport, yeah, you could say, well, you're close to LA, and of course,
but at the time, Orange County was not Orange County.
But at that time, it was just a place. It was a stopover.
It was the Boondocks back in the day. I mean,
and
really,
I was just tripping, and it's just like you could fly into literally any place and find a musician that's on their way to someplace or their way from someplace, right? So sometimes they'll, you knew, confusing myself here, you know a musician that's a true musician when that's really what they want to do is play. So he's been playing all his freaking life.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The Allman Brothers. I mean...
And Allman Brothers and...
Greg of all of the Allman Brothers.
Dwayne, yeah.
I mean...
And Dwayne, right? So the fact that he's got like 3 hours to blow or 2 hours to blow, whatever, and he's like, cool, I'm going to walk over, I'm going to play piano. Because that's what
on probably a piano that wasn't tuned exactly the way that he wanted, but then he might have heard a chord or he might have heard something sing out of how it was being played, and that might have influenced a later song that we all know today.
Yeah, entirely possible.
I mean, I worked with an older gent who was a bartender. In a previous life, he bartended in Arizona, and he always told the story about, this little shit came in and, wearing cowboy boots and a, 6.5 gallon black hat. And he walked in with a little attitude, but a big mouth, and was telling everybody that he was going to fuck, fight, and chew bubble gum and this, that, and the other. And finally the guy said, well, pick up a guitar and start singing or get the fuck out. We're tired of your gas, man.
Right.
And this cat picked up the guitar that had been sitting out by the van where everybody else was sitting. He's just sitting inside just burying beers and, and he goes and gets his guitar and plays Take This Job and Shove It. And, and it's like, oh, all right, well,
gotcha.
Okay, you little shit with the black hat. Okay, well, here you are. Thank you very much for coming out. And it's always amazing, again, bringing music all back together for all of us, that it always speaks to you, and it always has something to say, as long as you keep your heart and your mind open to it, to, hey, I'm going to give this song, I'm going to give this album. We're listening to the whole album, right? We're not listening to just one song. Yeah. You start play at number one and you listen to it through, because there's a reason that everything's in line the way it is. Mm-hmm. So you listen to it all the way through and you go, ooh, that was a pretty good album. But if I listen to it again in a different headspace, it might lead me somewhere else. Exactly. And it might take me somewhere else. And then, I might cherry pick a song or two, but still the whole album resonates because I've already listened to it twice all the way through. The way that we consume, I don't mean to say everybody in this room, but the way that most people consume music these days is, I hear this song is great. I hear this song from this person is great. And now you have a mishmash of everybody's songs that are great, but they don't mean anything because you didn't listen to the whole album,
right.
or you didn't at least consume it once and see what they were going through with the overall arc of what the album was meant to be.
Yeah.
Was it meant to be about family? Was it meant to be about loss? Was it meant to be about heartbreak?
Yeah.
Well, you'll never know because you got this one.
You cherry-picked it.
You cherry-picked it. And you got this one song that talks about a girlfriend in high school that might not have listened to you so much. And yeah, sure, you got that song in your head, but you don't have the end of the album where the guy might be really happy where he is. Or, you know, might be super content in the life that got him exactly to this point. You only cherry picked that one moment out of the whole album.
Right.
So that's me imploring everybody, listen to the whole album at least twice.
Yeah.
At least twice.
Right.
Give it its due.
There's a lot of songs out there that have meant something different to me all through my life.
Oh, man.
Like, I think we've talked about Bob Seger before, where he has some storytelling where he says, oh, you know, I was a little too tall, but he could have used a few pounds. You know, he just tells a story, and, you know, and then he's in a different part of his life. Or I like a rock.
Bob Seger.
Stand and arrow straight, you know, back then. And it's like, oh, I remember listening to that song when I was 18.
Yeah, man.
And I was that guy. And I remember listening to it when I had a passel of kids. And I was that guy.
Gosh,
you know,
I can only imagine.
Just, you know, deadlines and commitments. You know,
Turn the Page, Bob Seger?
Was it Turn the Page? Was
Turn
another
the Page.
one.
Oh, my
And
God.
no studio version of that.
Right.
Only the live version.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I can hear it now.
And felt that it captured the essence. It captured the essence of the song.
Those songs have been with me all my life, and they've always meant something different, depending on where you're at. Not all songs do that. Actually, not many songs do that.
Jackson Browne's.
I love him. God, I was just thinking about him when you were
the Roadies song.
Load Out. My piano.
Load Out song.
Oh, okay.
Again, same thing. Only live. No studio version, because what was caught right there was it.
That just a little bit longer. Is that the song you're talking about? Yeah. Oh my God.
There was no reason to go into a studio for it. It was meant for that moment at that time. And,
yes.
And it was recorded beautifully.
Right. Yeah. We were just talking about the other day about songs that was like they laid that over it to make it sound live.
Oh.
That was Kiss.
1975
did you say
live. Somebody else did that? No.
Kiss Alive 2.
Kiss Alive 2.
It was like I can't even hear that song without hearing the crowd behind it. I didn't know that was fake. Yeah, right.
No, the crowd was real. That crowd was real. When we were talking about the one that wasn't necessarily real was like Benny and the Jets with Elton John.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
knew there was one. I couldn't.
They used the crowd of, as I understand it or understood it anyway. Jimi Hendrix from one of his concerts.
Oh, really?
And they pulled the audience sounds and put that together behind it.
Oof.
And they put the verb and they did the whole thing. And I, for the bulk of my childhood, believed that was a live track cut, captured right there. And you go,
let me check my watch.
That was done in a studio?
I believed that until about 19 seconds ago. I had no idea. Oh,
maybe I should shut up.
No. But
it seems dirty, but it's at the same time, I love that song.
So much to your point, but the other side of the coin, the song that always evolves with you, that song that you hear that. Oh yeah, maybe Betty Sue and me weren't in love, but maybe we had that summer and blah blah blah. You live with it and then it keeps moving with you. What about that song that you listen to? It comes on and within the first 4 bars, you are taken back to 16 blasting down the road with your buddy in his Camaro without seat belts, and you hear that blasting.
Back in black.
And man, shoot a thrill.
I know.
And all of a sudden you're right back there.
Right.
And I can feel the Vans that I was wearing, and the stupid Dickies jacket that I was wearing with patches all over it, going, hell yeah, brother, let's go. And
Billy Squire, man.
Oh, the stroke. Come on. And the one that takes you back. I love the one that you get to mold through the years, reeling through the years.
Yeah, right.
But there's the one that takes you back and really kind of blows the doors off. And the one for me would be Black Magic Woman by Santana.
That's way before your time.
way before my time. But we're talking about a dad that was born in 1938,
right.
a mom that was born in a brother that was born in a half brother that was born in 1968, another half sister that was born in 1972, another half sister born in 1979, another half brother born in 1984. I have every mark of rock and roll
84.
all along the way. And so it's like I can look back through any of those eras and pull a memory. Mm-hmm. But when it's like something like Black Magic Woman or something like that, you get hooked on a core memory where everybody's in a 1974 black van cruising down to Disneyland. Oh, no, it was a Mercy window. It was a full bubble Mercy window out the back. The bubble.
Not the one on the side.
With the carousel seating in the back.
Mercy. And
it was all a gray velour, and I remember sitting in the far back and just seeing parents, chain smoking cigarettes, moms pouring roadies for dad, cruising down Highway 5, and just got a black magic woman.
Right.
And me just sitting in the back being, single digit age, just being like,
truly.
Well, this is just bitching.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I don't know why my head's doing this, but yeah. And now, 30 years later, it's just like, this is just bitching. I really like this.
It's still bitching.
It's still bitching, man. It's still bitching. And just the love for music and, the folks that I meet that it's like, what do you listen to? Whatever.
Yeah.
Find the love in your heart, man. Find the passion.
I know, right?
You got to have something that drives you in. I feel like music should be one of them, right?
Absolutely.
I remember being down in Florida one time, and a buddy of mine.
Oh dear, I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry, Florida. I'm kidding. It was a joke.
I love Florida. We'd go down there for Christmas, and I had a buddy that every year, his parents would bring him down, and our grandparents lived in the same mobile home park. We had the 3-wheel bikes like the old ladies ride,
gosh, man.
and we were just humming around that place, like that. And the song that was playing, and it might have slipped out of my mind.
Well, wait.
Not Radar Love. Because I think you just said that.
I sure did.
Hands wet on the wheel. That's that one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's another one. I'll think of it in a second. But anyways, those flashes.
Twilight Zone.
Those flashes are what you're saying. It brings you right back
to that moment.
What the hell was it? I just had it in my mind. Sorry about that.
No, man, away. I'm sorry. We're all jibber jabbering over each other.
Music, in my head. Yeah. What the hell was it?
See, next time I'm going to bring notepads.
I know. I should have written that one down.
We're all trying to jog note down in our head.
Yeah.
But it's that moment that takes you back to that second. You can smell that station wagon. You can smell the menthol rolling back, and the sweat from your feet and everything like that from running around in the sun all day, and it takes you right back to that second.
It was a station wagon.
Oh, see that?
Picture it.
I can picture it. I felt it, man.
I felt that station wagon.
Well, I mean, if you were the younger, sibling at the time, you didn't get to be in the one facing back.
No.
You had to be in the middle one, closest to mom and dad, where you could get smacked right in the back, or right in the leg. Pardon me.
Flip off people out of the back seat.
Oh,
because you're facing backwards.
Hell yeah. We had a lady pull my mom over one day, like, yerk, like
really?
Literally like slung in front of her, and was like, by the way, your son and his friend are giving me the finger from the back. And I'm just sitting there, like, after soccer practice, like, you're in fucking trouble.
You're getting it.
You're in trouble. And, oh, man, my mom dropped my brother's buddy Scott off at his house and was like, Scott, I'm going to be speaking to your mother. And then
she did, too.
And the entire drive back. Jared, I cannot believe oh my goodness, when your father hears about this. Oh man, I can the station wagon, man.
I actually saw one in a junkyard the other day, or a couple months back, and the back seats were facing each other.
Oh yes, sir. Yeah.
Side to side.
Yeah, Plymouth.
I think we had one of those. That
Yeah.
might have been the first one. From there on in, it was always the backwards facing one.
Right.
But there was like the double where you were.
The Plymouths folded
Was
in
it
on
a Plymouth?
themselves, and so they created a back shelf, and then you flipped them up, and that created your footwell.
Right.
And in the footwell, if you were small enough, that actually left room for a cooler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the thing is, oh, well, the Plymouth satellite station wagon, big enough for a family and a family's cooler. And that was like the thing of that station wagon. I've been looking for one. Damn it. Yeah, you saw one.
I'm telling you, right?
Oh,
I
man.
think it was on a show. I was just, because they love to go through all the old
Heck
wrecking
yeah.
yards and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, my God, wait, look in the back seat. They're facing each other. I was like, wait. I might have had one of those.
Oh,
not myself,
man.
my dad,
The danger.
Oh,
just
my God,
the danger.
Right. Oh.
Takes me back to Mexico, riding in the back of a truck bed.
Yeah. Well, there was like the middle seat folded up, and then the back seat folded up like that. So there was like a gap about that big between the two back seats.
That's a good enough spot for a kid.
So it was just full of, actually there were kids riding there once in a while, but it was usually full of snacks, oranges. You could just reach down there.
Oh, nice.
On a long road
Okay.
trip, just loaded up with all kinds of snacks in there.
Oh, gosh.
Stuff. The old days.
Heck yeah, man.
Now they make you like wear seatbelts.
It's the no fun zone.
It's the no fun zone.
Man, I don't know. You see some of these minivans now, they got DVD players and air conditioners pointing at you all the time. There's no heat stroke going on anymore. The carbon monoxide from the cigarettes is gone.
That's not the same level of fun.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
That's very true. That's very true.
Right. Did you see that TV? There was like a panel screen in one of those Aston Martins where you could watch TV from this seat, but as soon as you moved over, it disappeared. You can't see it. You can't see the screen.
Really?
So the driver can't be distracted. I was like, what? How did they do that? That's cool.
Man. But then you have a brand new 2025 Tesla that has a iPad that's 4 times the size of a normal iPad that can play every video game and pornography scene that you've ever thought of in your head.
Be long. You won't even have to look out the windshield. Just drive through your screen. Just where am I now? Okay. Crazy, man.
Well, I wanted to thank you both for having me back. It's always a wonderful time. We always go on the weirdest, wildest walkabouts that I could ever imagine. And I always think about things that I'm going to say with you guys and what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It never happens.
No.
Yeah.
It never happens. Like on my way here, like I was talking with, my Uber driver who's an Army vet that has a lot to say about this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, man, fuck yeah, I'm going to bring that up. And I walk through these doors and I'm like, dude, Sammy Hagar, bro. Fucking yeah. Let's talk about Sammy Hagar for half an hour. And I just want to let you guys know that this is the nicest reprieve that I haven't thought about national news or local news or any news for the time that I've been sitting here. And I think that in itself is a very nice treat.
It's kind of nice, huh?
Yeah. I think that everybody deserves that, especially right now.
Right.
Whether you're right, left, center, I do not care. Officially, do not care. I want everybody to be safe, healthy, and happy. And I want everybody's family to be happy. And the fact that I have been... my phone's been off, which I suggest to you, turn this on, turn your phone off, watch the YouTube. But I really want you guys to know, thank you for giving me this at least couple hour reprieve of getting out of the cycle of just what's going on next. And I know that's the name of this podcast What's Next, but going back into the history every once in a while doesn't hurt us either.
Serious. Right.
Things that bring people together, laughter and music and conversation.
Yes, 100%. Laughter, music, conversation. I think I have my next tattoo lined up, actually. not live, laugh, love, but
laughter. I had a friend of yours in here, and he paid you quite a compliment. We were talking about, what's he doing now? He was doing the doors for a while, and and now he's back to cars, I think, where he belongs,
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we were saying, I don't know, I was just saying that no matter what you jump into it with all your heart.
Oh, man.
Because I know you're a car guy, and you probably wasn't the first thing you wanted to get back into, doing lumber and doors and coming home with shavings in your hair, and I know how much that just sucks, but it didn't screw up yourself, right? I mean, you just enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, what do I get to do today? I'm just fired up about it.
It was a quote that was given to me from a friend by Herman Melville. I'm gonna be butchering it a little bit by not getting exactly correct, and I apologize. But
take liberties, sir.
But it was I know not what I will be running into, but I will be running into it laughing.
Right.
And I may not love what I'm doing, and for a very long time I was serving margaritas and guacamole to complete assholes that I did not care about their experience, but I went into it with an enthusiasm.
Right.
And
love what you do.
I love what you do, and I have coworkers that every day we have that conversation of like, hey man, I know you're going through a lot.
Yeah.
And sure as you're born, I'm going through a little bit too behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So behind the scenes, that's for me. That's for my family. But right now we're on stage. All the world's a stage.
Yep.
And so you put on that big grin, and guess what? When you start acting like the life of the party at work, it's the life of the party at work.
Right,
so make sure that you treat it as such. So I always try to go just marching into every situation with laughter, with joy.
Right.
And fuck, am I lucky to be here. And the other thing is, the guy that I was 5 months ago, the guy that I was 5 years ago, the guy that I was 15 years ago, he would look at me right now and go, holy shit. You have that?
Right.
You got there?
Right.
You like we talked about earlier, you got that hot rod truck. You got that wife that comes home and cares about you and gives a shit.
Yeah.
And you have this group of friends around you. The person that you were yesterday, that you're cursing this job or you're cursing this moment. The person that you were yesterday is yearning for that moment.
Right.
That person that you were yesterday is begging to be in the situation that you are today, because if nothing has gone catastrophically wrong, you have slightly bettered yourself from yesterday, whether it's by career, whether it's by friendship, whether it's by just finding a good piece of music, or whether it's by slightly bettering yourself on the inside and going, all right, I'm not going to have that second cookie today. I'm going to limit myself to one, and maybe that might make me feel better.
Yeah.
But for me, it's all been about trying to keep the perspective and keep the love flowing, and keep the admiration for everything around us flowing. And man, do I feel like people lose it real quick. Something goes slightly askew. I have a couple of coworkers that do the cryptocurrency thing, and God bless you for it.
Sure.
I don't have the bandwidth. I'm more worried about carburetors and jet sizing. But I have these cats that follow the cryptocurrency like it is going to be their retirement, and I hope it is.
Yeah.
I really do hope
right.
that on next Monday they get to put in their 2 weeks and go, I'm moving to Morocco. Best of luck, sweethearts. I'm on my way.
Right.
But then they come to work that next Monday and they go, oh God, I don't know how it's gonna work. I mean, I lost all. I don't know what's going on. And I go, well, it was digital nothing to begin with.
Right.
So you're left with less digital nothing than you started with
when you had nothing.
So
sounds like a fair trade.
but living in beautiful Monterey Bay, California, I get to drive to work and drive home to work, and on the way into work, the ocean's on my left side, and on the way home from work, the ocean's on my right side. People pay to have their weddings in the city that I live. I mean, it's one of those things where you step back and you go, oh yeah.
It's all about perspective.
And perspective is such a thing that I try to press on everybody near me. And I feel like we always circle back around to it on this podcast, because it's so natural to talk about all these things, but then get right back to perspective and trying to grasp onto it and not worry about that day to day, that grind. That no, but John Doe has this and Jane Doe has that, and wait, what about my slice of that pie?
Right.
Well, I mean that's their pie and it tastes fine. And my pie, I earned. And that small slice that I get to have today, brother, it tastes good. Right. It tastes good because I was the one that was able to make that.
Yeah.
And your pie, whether it was made with fake filling and this, that, and the other, that's how you built yours. But I'm going to build mine off of real ingredients, real hard work, and just real people around me.
Yeah.
And I think I've really worn out this pie reference that I'm making. But no, it's really true. I try to keep that perspective going all the time. And you know what? Sometimes things don't work out and you get pie on your face. Yeah. Hey, all right, I finished it off. That's the button. That's the button.
Nice tie-in.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel the hook hit me now. Oh man, but yeah, really just trying to understand the prism where everybody else is coming from. You can look at a crystal from this angle, and it might seem perfectly clear from you to me, but I twist it just 10 degrees, and all of a sudden, our vision is skewed, and we're not seeing what I intend you to see or you intend me to see.
That's the same analogy that flat earther was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Now we know.
Yeah. It's if you put...
Turn the prism a little further, and it's just an optical illusion.
See?
Is it really round?
Hey.
Okay. Maybe. I'm not smart enough to go.
I'm going to need
one.
you to send me that clip, brother. But it is trying to see, because you sat and had a conversation with that person, right? A big, long
one of
conversation.
My best friends, yeah.
See,
sure.
and that is trying to see the prism through his angle.
Yeah.
Or her angle, I don't know, but their angle. Mm-hmm. You're trying to see it, and so when somebody comes up to you and goes, "Oh, so and so's a complete asshole. Can you believe that they're doing X, Y, and Z?" Whether it's a boss, whether it's a coworker, whether it's someone in government, whether it's your HOA person down the street. Mm. All right, well, take a second and try to see. What are their intentions, and what side of the prism are they really trying to look into? Mm-hmm. And maybe that might help you gain a little bit of the perspective that we're trying to reach for, and that inner peace that hopefully someday, God willing, we are able to find in this whole crazy thing. But with that perspective, hopefully we get a little understanding in there, and we're just not so damn mad at each other.
Yeah.
And we're not so damn divided all the time. Right. And just a little bit more loving towards your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your friend, your damn neighbor.
Turn the TV off, shut the screen.
Go
talk to somebody like this.
Oh yeah,
face to face.
Go have a seltzer water. Go have a coffee. Sit and talk to your neighbor and see what the hell is rattling around in their head. And you know what? They might have in this area or any area in the world. Somebody's gonna have a really cool Sammy Hagar story. I guarantee it. Or if it's not a Sammy Hagar story, they might have a really cool. Hey, yeah. By the way, one time I sat next to X, Y, and Z on a plane, or oh yeah, I was in a coffee shop with this guy and he handed me a guitar pick and told me, "Don't quit, kid." And there's always gonna be that intriguing story,
right? And
we just need to get past the this side, that side, and just get back to the, hey man, what rhythm makes you hum, and what really makes you happy, and it's chasing, politics and religion, and from what I've seen, it doesn't make people happy. It kind of scatters them,
right? And
it alienates them from other people, to where then all of a sudden you're now alone, sitting in an empty bedroom, screaming the same thing, and now you're in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And you just hear the same things, not listening to other people. And I really, that's it, is listen to others around you. Don't take everything the elders have to say, because sometimes you elders are full of shit.
Yep.
unless it's us elders.
Unless it's me.
No.
Right.
Excluding everybody
that we have to say.
Excluding everybody in this echo chamber.
Yes, thank you.
Outside of this echo chamber. That's what I meant.
Important caveat right there.
It's just like I meet so many people in this line of work.
Oh gosh,
especially in this area, it's like the most interesting people, and it's. I'll talk to one guy, one lady, and I used to be married to one of the big four automakers, one of the big wigs on there.
Right.
Like, oh my God, can you be on my podcast?
Oh
well, hell no.
Yeah.
But I do know this one guy.
I'll take it.
And it's like, what? You know him? Send him in.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. It's just like, holy cow.
And then the booking falls through, and then you have to call Austin again, and then it's like, oh, fuck, we got to talk to this guy again.
Can you jump in? Totally fucking with you, bro. I'd rather talk to you than most people.
Oh, man.
It's so good to see you
It's
again.
always an honor. It's always an honor. Thank you very much, gents, both of you.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
I still got a list of things that I wanted to talk to you about, but I never did. So we're good for then 4 months from now.
Beautiful.
Right on.
I'll see you in quarter 2.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. And as always, I got to give the pipeline reading. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to Live Well Therapeutics. What's Next with Steve Blasen. Please click, like, and subscribe.
If you got any value.
If you have any value.
Turn it off. I don't know. Whatever.
And just so you know, that's going to be used. I'm using that.
On every single one from here on out. You just
There's a new ending.
I feel like I need to do it like Sammy Hagar now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, click, like, and subscribe. Wow.
The other one was perfect. The other one was dead on perfect.
Oh, man, I love hanging out with you guys. Thank you so much. And I will be back
brother.
anytime.
Right on.
All right.
Yeah, hit the like and subscribe button if you got any value out of that. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. See you.